Our topic for today is how to determine the answers in solving quadratic equations using completing the squares. We have case number 1. The middle and the last terms are even numbers. For example, we have x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Here we have in the middle 6 and 8, the last term. These are even numbers. So to solve this one, transpose 8 to the right side of the equation, making it a negative. So x squared plus 6x equals negative 8. Then we are going to add a number that will make this left side of the equation a perfect square, trinomial. So that number is from the middle term 6 divided by 2 and then squared. So 6 over 2 squared and then 6 over 2 squared in both sides of the equation, the left side and the right side of the equation, to maintain the equality. Then 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 3 squared equals negative 8 plus 3 squared. And 3 squared is 9. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals negative 8 plus 9. This one, negative 8 and 9. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 1. Then this one is a perfect square trinomial and can be factored using this one here, the number 3 here. So we have now the factor as x plus 3 squared equals 1. And take the square root of x plus 3 squared equals 1. Take the square root of both sides of the equation, the left and the right side of the equation. So we have here cancelling the square with the square root. So we have x plus 3 equals 1. And since this is from square root, so this is plus or minus, positive or negative 1. Then from here, we can have the two values as x plus 3 equals 1 or positive 1 and x plus 3 equals negative 1. First, we are going to solve here this part of the equation. X plus 3 equals 1. Transpose 3 to the right side of the equation. This becomes x equals 1 minus 3. This becomes a negative. So this is equals to x equals negative 2. And we have here, transposing this 3 here to the right side of the equation, making it a negative. So we have x equals negative 1 minus 3. And this is equals to x equals negative 4. So the first value of x is negative 2, or x sub 1 equals negative 2. And x sub 2, the second value of x is negative 4. Notice that 2 and 4 are even numbers. So for case number 1, if the middle and the last terms are even numbers, the values of x are both even numbers. So that's a hint. Then we have this case number 2. The middle term is even, but the last term is odd number. So for example, we have x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. 8 is even, but 15 is an odd number. So transpose 15 to the right side of the equation. We have x squared minus 8x equals 15. Then we are going to add a number that will make the left side of the equation a perfect square trinomial. So it must be squared here in the left side of the equation and on the right side of the equation. That number comes from the middle term, 8, negative 8 over 2 squared, added to both sides of the equation here in the left side and on the right side of the equation to maintain the equality. Then negative 8 over 2 is negative 4. So we have here x squared minus 8x plus negative 4 squared minus 15 plus quantity negative 4 squared. And negative 4 squared is 16. So we have here x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals negative 15 plus 16. And this is equal to 1. Negative 15 plus 16 is equals to 1. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 1. And this is now a perfect square trinomial. Left side of the equation is a perfect square trinomial, which can be factored using the number that is being squared, which is negative 4. So this can be factored as x minus 4 squared equals 1. Then use this number, x minus 4 squared equals 1. Take the square root of both sides of the equation. This square here can be cancelled with the square root, and the square root of 1 is 1. So x minus 4 equals 1, which has a sign of plus or minus, or positive and or negative 1. From this, we can have the first value of x as x minus 4 equals 1, and the other is x minus 4 equals negative 1. And from here, transpose 4 to the right side of the equation, making it positive. So we have x. So we have x equals 1 plus 4, and 1 plus 4 is 5. So x equals 5. The other is x equals negative 1 plus 4. This negative 4 can be, when transposed to the right side of the equation, becomes positive. So x equals negative 1 plus 4, which is equals to x equals 3. The first value of x is, or x sub 1 is 5, and the second value of x is, or x sub 2 is 3. Notice here that we have an odd number 5 and an odd number 3. So case number 2, if the middle term is even and the last term is odd, the value of x are both odd numbers. We have this case number 3, the middle term is odd, but the last term is even number. For example, we have x squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0. Notice here that 7 is an odd number, but 12 is even. So transpose 12 to the right side of the equation, making it negative. So x squared plus 7 equals negative 12. And we are going to add a number that, when squared, makes this left side of the equation a perfect square trinomial. So that number added to the left side of the equation and to the right side of the equation to maintain the equality. And that number comes from the middle term, which is 7 over 2. So 7 is not divisible by 2 without a remainder. So there's a remainder here, but now we are not going to stack that remainder, so this 7 over 2 remains. So we are dealing now with fractions. So this is equals to x squared plus 7, and the square root of 7 is 49, and the square root of 2 is 4, so plus 49 over 4 equals negative 12 plus also 49 over 4. Then we are going to make this left side of the equation into similar fractions. So we are going to multiply 4 to 12. So this is 4 here in the denominator. Here's 4 here, must be multiplied to 12. And the common denominator is 4. So 12 times 4 is 48. And the sign is negative. So we have negative 48 plus 49 over 4. and this is equals to 1 over 4. So x squared plus 7x plus 49 over 4 is equals to 1/4. Then we can get the factor of this left side of the equation as from here 7 over 2. So yeah, now the factor is x plus 7 over 2 squared is equals to square root of 1/4. Take the square root of both sides of the equation, and take the square root of both sides of the equation. We have x plus 7 over 2 squared is equals to square root of 1 over 4. And this squared here is cancelled with the square roots, equals to x plus, cancel here the square with the square root, so we have 7 over 2 equals the square root of 1/4 is plus or minus 1/2. And from this one, we can get the first value of x as x minus 7. You transpose the 7 to the right side of the equation using the plus here. With the plus, using the positive 1 over 2, the common denominator. And 1 minus 7 over 2, this is equals to 6, negative 6, negative 6 over 2. And this is equals to x sub 1, or the first value of x as negative 3. The other is x equals negative 1 minus 7, and the common denominator is 2. So negative 1 minus 7 is 8, negative 8 over 2. And the second value of x is negative 4, or x sub 2 equals negative 4. So notice here we have 3 is odd and 4 is and 4 is even. So in case number 3, if the middle term is odd and the last term is even number, one value of x is even and the other is an odd number. And if the middle term is an odd number, we are dealing with a fraction that has a denominator of 2. I hope this gives you some enlightenment in dealing with factoring using completing the squares in solving quadratic equations. Please subscribe to my channel for further videos, or please subscribe to my channel for future videos. Thank you very much.